So I want to talk about this because there's the big election last night, and people were saying that it's saved democracy. And I just want to remind people that the U.S. is an oligarchy. It is not a democracy. So if you think you voted last night for corporate Democrats who just gave $85 billion to Nazis in Ukraine, and you call that saving democracy, I have to disabuse you of that stupid idea because you don't live in a democracy. Your democracy was stolen from you decades ago.
Jimmy, you know what when I really figured it out was when Aaron Mate was here and we watched a clip of the debate between Fetterman and Dr. Oz, and they asked them about minimum wage.
And they both don't want it.
I think John Fetterman said goodnight, and I think Dr. Oz said we're going to start fracking, and somehow that... And I was like, if he was a real doctor, he should have dropped everything to help John Fetterman.
Right then.
Yeah, that's probably why he lost. People are like, you're not a doctor.
If you were a doctor, you'd be helping that stroke victim instead of running against him and
frack that lump on the back of his neck and see
trying to confuse him in public.
Yeah.
So if you voted yesterday, this was your choice. You got to vote for the oligarchy or the oligarchy. That's why it was a tough election.
Yeah. Well, I thought I'd do Michael Moore a favor and vote for the oligarchy.
That's right. As a personal favor to Michael Moore. So you got guys like this. This guy, of course, he's in bed with the establishment oligarchy, and he says fascism took a big step backwards last night. Thank you, America. Again.
Oh, really? Does it make up for Elon buying Twitter even?
Again, if fascism is what Mussolini said it was, which is the convergence of the state and corporations to work against the citizen, which is what it is, both parties are 100% fascist. We live in a fascist oligarchy. You don't. So, and here's both parties side with the corporation over voters and workers. Wall Street won another election. The only difference between Democrats and Republicans is the speed at which their knee hits the floor when a donor enters the room, as Ralph Nader said. And so I had to remind him. Now here is Michael Moore. Michael Moore, we critiqued him yesterday. He was just flat out lying to people to get them to vote. And people who were non-voters, his message to non-voters was, please vote as a personal favor to me. He didn't have anything that he could entice them with as policy or, hey, if you vote, this good thing will happen for you. It was just do it as a favor to me because there is no reason to vote.
How surprised are you that they did it? I didn't think he had that many people who do a favor for him.
He says, yesterday we created a blue wall that stopped a red wave. Few were willing to predict that millions of you made it happen, and our democracy lives to see another day. Thank you. So what I said was, you created a blue wall of corporate oppression disguised as one big democracy virtue signal as you stand for 100% corporate-controlled pro-war anti-worker party that is sending $80 billion to Ukraine while denying us healthcare and a living wage. Hooray!
Yeah, but Republicans are worser.
Worser. So let me bring in Nick Cruse. Nick, what do you have to say about yesterday's results?
And still undefeated in these elections, Goldman Sachs.
Still undefeated.
And still undefeated in this election. Israel is 100% undefeated. There are progressives, quote unquote, that are celebrating the win of John Fetterman. There wasn't a blue wall. There was a Zionist wall. The progressive movement cannot win without selling out to Zionism in the military-industrial complex. So they are 100% the winners. And despite what the narrative that come from the Republican Party, I want you guys to know Rand Paul is the only Republican senator that voted against Ukraine aid.
I know.
So another win for Zelensky. So thus far, working class, they took another loss. Zelensky is smiling. Israel's smiling. Goldman Sachs is smiling. So isn't this a grand democracy?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's quite a democracy. As Ryan Knight reminds us, he says big business and the billionaire class win yet another election in the United States and retain full control of the House, Senate, and both corrupt parties who do their bidding. That's very well said. He said, just a reminder that the U.S. elections are not about preserving democracy. They're about preserving the illusion of democracy and keeping the people trapped in a corrupt political system that puts corporations over people. That's what Election Day is in America. It's nothing to be celebrated. There should be no celebration today whatsoever. No matter what happens on Tuesday, over 500,000 Americans will not have a place to live. Millions won't have access to adequate health care, and over 37 million Americans will still be living in poverty. People like to, so now it's very popular now to say that homeless people are, The problem is just drug addicts and stupid lefties with their policies that allow drug addicts to camp on. And if they would just get rid of these stupid lefty policies, homeless people would vanish.
That's, by the way, that's just the part that you see a lot, which is huge.
That's right.
But the other huge part that you don't know about, they have jobs. That's right. 40% of homeless people have jobs. Okay, just so you know. And what I think 20% of children, I think are. Can you look up what percentage of children are homeless in America? I bet it's better. Either 20% of children are 45% are in poverty, or 25% are homeless. We're going to find out. Hey, look this. If you voted for people who closed schools, people who mandated masks, people who mandated shots, people who were who fired the unvaccinated, people who did not apologize for all of the above, then you're the problem. You own and condone everything that happened. We had to do that to fight fascism.
We had to fight fascism. We had to do a little bit of fascism so we could push back against a little bit of fascism. I guess that's our idea, because that is not democracy. That is not democracy.
This is 1 in every 30 American children goes to sleep without a home of his or her own each year. Approximately 2.5 million children are homeless.
2.5 million children are homeless in the United States? That seems high.
Wow.
That seems very high.
Yeah.
I know they say 1 out of 5 kids live in poverty, but I cannot stress enough that the poverty rates in this country is a joke. So according to this country, if you're a single mom with 2 kids and you make $23,000 a year, you are technically out of poverty.
Yeah.
And that's a joke. And 1 out of 5 kids live in poverty despite the culture of low expectations set by capitalists. So imagine what the child poverty rate would be if they actually use real common sense numbers. No one, no matter where they are in this country, can live as a single mom with 2 kids on $23,000 a year. If you have 4 kids, $32,000 a year. These are ridiculous numbers, and the child poverty rate is still high.
Correct.
Now, do you think all these mandates and lockdowns and stuff to fight fascism maybe count as like a homeopathic remedy?
So, I mean, I can't get over how the Democrats are on social media today claiming victory. It's mind-blowing to me that that's just... You guys did it with, just the left fist of the corporate fucking bully won yesterday. That's what happened. Control of the U.S. Senate may again be decided in Georgia as the race between Democratic incumbent Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker heads to a December. That's how corrupt the Democrats are. They can't even beat Herschel Walker. That's how corrupt. That's how corrupt Hillary Clinton was. She couldn't even beat a game show host. This is how corrupt the Democrats are, and they have to try to lie to you and trick you into thinking that somehow because they're not going to stand up for you economically, but they're not going to stand up for your freedom of speech or your liberty or your Fourth Amendment or your First Amendment, but they will. Protect democracy in some vague, nebulous way that they can never tell me how they're going to do it.
Their personal power in office.
What the fuck good is democracy if it ends up with 80% of the people in that democracy working paycheck to paycheck? Half of that country can't afford a $400 emergency. That's, first of all, it's not a democracy. We don't live in a democracy. Go ahead, Kurt.
And what good is democracy if we're just one Herschel Walker win away from losing it? By the way. That's all that stands between us and democracy going.
That's all that stands.
A running back almost destroyed democracy.
So now there's a decent chance that the Democrats control the House and gain 2 seats. So then it wouldn't matter Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. And then I wonder who's going to become the Joe Manchin.
Yes.
Maybe they'll find a new thing like the parliamentarian that I never heard of.
They'll find another parliamentarian.
To not give you what they're supposed to.
They'll blame it on Joe Rogan.
Oh, the Council of Owls met and said we can't give Medicare.
Yeah, and Jimmy and my brother Rome, he's playing on RBN. He said the best outcome for the working class, and not the reason why you would think, is for the Democrats to win, so people can see the Democrats in full control and see the Democrats not do anything for them. What are your thoughts on that, Jim?
I 100% agree with that. I was like, I hope that the Democrats win again, so they can't have a scapegoat to blame our lost democracy on. And when people go to vote in 2 years, they'll remember the Democrats have been in complete control of government for 4 years, and my life got worse. Because that's why people voted for Donald Trump, not because they were all of a sudden half the country turned into racists, not because half the country turned into Nazis or white supremacists, but because they voted for Barack Obama twice and their lives got worse. That's why the black and brown people in Wisconsin and Milwaukee wouldn't show up to vote for Hillary Clinton, and they let a guy like Donald Trump win because they voted for Barack Obama, and their lives got worse. Just like, so that I agree with you. I think it actually would be better off for the country if the Democrats remained in control of government so people could see that there is no difference in the parties except around the edges. Now, there was a difference in the parties around the edges, certainly when it came to COVID. DeSantis actually approached COVID in a sane way where he did follow the science as opposed to the Democrats who pretended to follow the science. What they were following was anything Big Pharma told them. And that's exactly what the Democratic Party did. Now, they're both beholden to Big Pharma, but they're, again, just around the edges and around free speech. Now, somehow free speech has become a right-wing cause where it used to be, like people say free. So now they've equated free speech with hate speech. So if you're for free speech, they then say you're for hate speech, which is not, again, that's a sleight of hand. And that's not true because that's all they have to run on. They have to run on, well, we're going to talk about it in another thing about how the Democrats, they didn't run on the economy. They didn't run on a minimum wage. They didn't run on health care. What they ran on was abortion because that's the only thing they had left to run on. And saving democracy. Go ahead.
Yeah, you brought up Ron DeSantis. Me and my co-host CJ on Revolutionary Blackout, we did a stream covering how neoliberalism enables fascism.
Yes.
So you had Ron DeSantis that pretty much have a stronghold in Florida. You got the right that's begging him to run in 2024. And I personally think he'll do better than Trump at this point because the Democratic Party and liberals created a powerhouse out of Ron DeSantis because of the void they left because they were so horrific on the COVID policies. If they didn't leave that opening for Ron DeSantis, he doesn't exist. And that just another example of how neoliberalism for the Democratic Party enables the far right.
100%. Somebody just made this point that it's the Democrats neoliberal. Oh, it was the Hulk. What's his name? Mark Ruffalo. He tweeted that out. The Democrats are enabling fascism. So he did a video about it, and he got in big trouble. So he had to run around and do campaign stops for Democrats, saying that they were protecting democracy because he got caught telling the truth about the Democratic Party, and he wants to remain in his perch high above liberal Hollywood. That's exactly why Mark Ruffalo. So here's Jen Psaki, former press secretary, now getting her corporate paycheck over at MSNBC for doing her bidding for the establishment. She says, no races have been called yet, and they won't be for a while, but just some facts for your back pocket. Bill Clinton lost 54 House seats in 1994. Barack Obama lost 63 in 2010, and both went on to win re-election. So you're trying to tell me that you're trying to pretend that demented Joe Biden, who can't even get off a fucking stage after a speech, is somehow the equivalent of Bill Clinton and Barack Obama? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Yes, that's what she's trying to tell you. And that's what mental maniacs, corporate mouthpieces like Jen Psaki are. As another corporate tool is able to point out, Ryan Grimm, when he gets it right, I'll tell you he got it right. He says, it's true that the Democrats got waxed in 2010, but they picked up 21 seats on Obama's coattails in 2008. So they had more seats to lose. Biden had reverse coattails, so the new losses compound old losses. So the Democrats are in much worse shape. So when Jen Psaki tries to lie to you tries to bullshit you, she's not lying, she's bullshitting you. This is gaslighting, another form of lying. And then a guy like Ryan Grimm, even he, a guy who lied about forced to vote and got body checked by a fucking football player on healthcare matters on Twitter. Even this guy Even he can tell you the truth where Jen Psaki can't. Go ahead, Kurt.
Well, you know the saying, even a broken haircut's right twice a day.
His hair is much better now. But so don't listen to that. So it's much worse for the Democrats than you think. I wish the Democrats would retain control of the, just like we talked about. Both went on to destroy, by the way, Bill Clinton and Barack Obama both went on to destroy Yugoslavia and Syria.
So I guess it was the same.
So there you go. Also, cool. And what did we get from those presidencies of Barack Obama and Bill Clinton? We got a repeal of Glass-Steagall that ruined the economy for a generation of people, and then a bailout of corporations from that economy that kept crippling that generation, but gave rich people a fuck ton more money. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's save this. And then what happened after Barack Obama and what happened then? Nothing. They went on to crush workers and regular people at the behest of the war machine and Wall Street. That's what they did. Will Democrats ever stop with a we lost a little less than last time, so that's technically a win?
I think the answer is no.
The answer is no, they won't. Leave it to liberals to act as if losing the House and barely scraping, but I don't know if they lost the House yet. Have they lost the House yet? Do we know this? No. It's still up in the air, right?
Yeah. I like that their blue wall is about as good as the Trump wall.
Yeah.
Like they kind of made part of it.
Their blue wall, they're going to need Republicans to come along and shore it up for them. Leave it to liberals to act as if losing the House and barely scraping by in the Senate is a win. All Dems had to do was use their majority to improve material conditions, and they wasted it on incrementalism, militarism, and gaslighting. So if they would imagine if the Democrats, instead of sending $85 billion to Ukraine, would have sent $85 billion to Los Angeles, San Diego, Houston, Minneapolis, Chicago, Atlanta, Tallahassee, Miami, New York, Buffalo. Imagine if they did that. Imagine if they got every homeless person off the street, because they could have done it 3 times over for that $85 billion. Imagine if that. Just imagine that.
You know, a lot of those places you mentioned are not really that much less corrupt than Ukraine. Like, probably, at least it'd be in the country, I guess.
At least it'd be in our country.
Yeah, some trickle down.
Little trickle down. Oh, here is Compton J makes. He goes, the working class lost every single race this midterm.
Yes.
So that's my roundup of how the elections went. It doesn't really fucking matter if Herschel Walker or that other, it doesn't, if really, that's how bad the Democrats are. They lost to Donald Trump and now they're going to lose their frickin' Herschel Walker.
I mean, the guy is hilarious if you watch him.
They almost lost to Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz, who half the shit he pushes on his show has been debunked as fucking witchcraft, right? They almost lost to him after he'd said that a woman should have to consult with a politician to get a medical treatment. They almost lost him after he said that. That's how corrupt the Democrats are.
Is Fetterman not like, and I honestly don't know, I'm just asking, is he not really a working class thing? He's just...
No, that's a costume that he wears.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's okay. that hoodie he wears. Fetterman is the opposite of... He never had a job in his fucking life.
Really?
He's not a worker.
Oh, the stroke.
His hands are softer than a baby's ass. Are you shitting me?
I don't know
Fetterman.
I just know he looks like the Thing from
that guy's a fake. He's 100,000% fake.
I shall see where he went to college, but I think he went to elite academia as well.
I think
very wealthy. Yeah, Harvard.
Did he go to University? Did he go to Wharton? Where'd he go?
I see Harvard University.
There you go.
Yeah. So
wow.
And then
this guy is not a worker.
The only job he ever had was as a politician. He never fucking did anything.
Oh my god, he looks like he has to. They put like a yoke on him, and he has to pull things.
You think he ever? You think he ever worked for tips?
I don't know. I didn't know anything about him. I just saw the.
No. So that's my wrap up, and then now our next segment. I'm going to tell you about how the Democrats. Why are the Democrats in this position? Well, because we told you about what they won't run on. They won't run on actually helping you. They will run on scaring you that the other guy will hurt you. So they're not going to actually help you, the Democrats. But in the next segment, we're going to tell you how they've completely abandoned white working class and working class people in general. They lost the white working class. Now they're losing the black and brown working class. Hey, we're doing live stand-up comedy shows. We're going to be in Austin, Texas, November 19th and 20th, November 26th in Burbank, California. Plus, in December, every Friday, we're going to be in Studio City at Two Roads Theater. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all our tickets and become a premium member while you're there to get all our videos unedited.